Imagine waking on a world where the sky never brightens. The sun, once the anchor of our days and seasons, no longer exists in our sky. Instead, overhead spreads a black, endless canvas pierced only by distant stars, so faint, so far. They offer neither warmth nor guidance. Earth, no longer held in a stable orbit, drifts silently through the galactic void. A rogue planet, an exile, a world cut loose from the very thing that once gave it life. In this new existence, there are no sunrises to mark beginnings, no sunsets to promise rest, and no seasons to shape the rhythms of nature. Time loses its familiar structure. Days become a memory. Only the cold remains, creeping in like a relentless tide. Yet in the profound darkness, a strange stillness settles over the world, an eerie calm that feels ancient, almost sacred. The absence of the sun is not merely a physical change. It reshapes the very meaning of existence. Shadows no longer move. Clouds no longer glow. Landscapes lose the colors gifted by sunlight. Everything becomes muted, frozen, suspended in an eternal twilight. The planet, once vibrant and alive with energy, now feels like a ghost drifting among stars that neither know nor care about its solitary journey. The catastrophe begins with subtle changes, a faint dimming of the sun's disk, a chill that lingers a bit longer each night, and a twilight that seems to arrive too early. Then, without warning, the sun slips from the sky, swallowed by forces far beyond human control, a gravitational disturbance from a passing star, a catastrophic orbital disruption, or a violent ejection from the solar system. Within days, Earth plunges into a cold no human civilization has ever witnessed. Temperatures fall rapidly. Oceans emit steam as their surfaces begin to freeze, and winds whip across continents in chaotic storms triggered by the sudden loss of solar heating. Cities flicker with panic as power grids strain to compensate for the dying warmth. Crops collapse in the dark. Animals migrate blindly, searching for warmth that no longer exists. As the surface freezes and storms intensify, humanity begins to retreat from the vulnerable open world. People descend into shelters, basements, bunkers, any place that can trap the lingering heat. For the first time in history, the sun becomes a memory rather than a reality. And Earth, the once bright jewel of the solar system, fades into the shadows. Despite the surface catastrophe, deep within Earth, the ancient heat of its creation still simmers. The core continues to churn with molten iron, generating warmth through radioactive decay, an internal fire that no cosmic event can extinguish. This geothermal heartbeat becomes humanity's final refuge. Volcanic regions emit plumes of warmth into the frigid air, creating small pockets of habitable terrain. Hydrothermal vents beneath the oceans remain steaming oases, feeding ecosystems that never needed sunlight in the first place. Life persists in these dark corners, thriving on chemical reactions rather than photosynthesis. As temperatures on the surface plunge far below freezing, these underground and underwater refuges grow in importance. They become sanctuaries for species pushed to the brink, nurseries for humanity's second attempt at civilization, and the beating heart of a new world where warmth must be earned, not received freely from the sky. The Earth is no longer a world defined by the sun. It is a world driven by the glow of its own buried fire. Life on the surface becomes untenable. As ice swallows cities and forests alike, humanity is forced to migrate downward. Scientists, engineers, and survivors work together to carve new habitats into the planet's crust. Entire civilizations rise beneath mountains, along tectonic boundaries, and near geothermal hotspots. These underground cities hum with artificial light, recycled air, and the low rumble of fusion reactors or geothermal turbines. Farms grow under LEDs calibrated to mimic forgotten sunlight. Aquatic systems are maintained in sealed, pressurized chambers warmed by pipes that draw heat from deep below. In this subterranean world, human culture reshapes itself. Children grow up without ever seeing the sky. Stories about blue horizons and glowing sunsets become almost mythical, passed down like legends from an age when the Earth was a sunlit paradise. The ice above becomes both a shield and a prison. Life continues, but it is a life fundamentally different from anything our species has ever known. For the few who venture to the surface, the sky becomes something miraculous. Without the sun's overwhelming brightness, the stars shine with a clarity no human eyes have witnessed in recorded history. The Milky Way stretches across the heavens like a river of fire, its clusters and nebulae glowing with soft, colorful light. Every constellation sharpens into perfect focus. Even distant galaxies appear as faint smudges of brilliance, no longer drowned out by sunlight. This new sky becomes a symbol of the world's transformation. Time is measured not by days, but by the drift of constellations. Navigation is guided by the fixed patterns of stars, not by shadows cast by the sun. And in this eternal night, humanity finds something unexpectedly beautiful, a direct, unfiltered view of the universe, a reminder that even in darkness, we are part of something vast and luminous. As sunlight-based ecosystems collapse, new forms of life emerge around sources of geothermal energy. Microbes colonize mineral-rich vents. Fungi spread across warm cavern walls, feeding on chemical reactions. Aquatic species adapt to darkness, developing enhanced senses, bioluminescence, or symbiotic relationships with heat-loving bacteria. Evolution accelerates in unexpected directions as life abandons dependence on sunlight and embraces the raw chemistry of Earth's interior. Humanity, witnessing this radical shift, begins cultivating these strange organisms. Bioluminescent lichens illuminate caverns with soft blue-green glow. Heat-resistant crops, bred through genetic engineering, thrive in warm underground pockets. Animals traditionally bound to surface ecosystems are reared in artificial habitats where light is carefully controlled. A new biosphere takes shape, not one born of sunlight, but one forged from ingenuity, adaptation, and the relentless tenacity of life itself. As a rogue planet, Earth becomes a wanderer. Without an orbit, it drifts through space on a path dictated by the invisible currents of galactic gravity. Occasionally, it may pass through dense interstellar clouds, where dust and gas faintly warm the atmosphere. Rarely, it may drift close enough to another star to experience a brief, eerie half-daylight, a glowing haze that melts the ice and triggers storms unlike anything the planet has ever endured. These encounters become milestones recorded by future historians, events that temporarily reshape the surface before Earth continues its journey through darkness. Over millennia, the planet's course may bring it close to star clusters, supernova remnants, or nebulae glowing with the birth of new suns. While Earth will never settle into another stable orbit, it will witness cosmic landscapes few planets ever encounter. In its isolation, Earth becomes a silent observer of the galaxy's evolution. Long-term survival depends on innovation and unity. Geothermal energy remains reliable for millions of years, but humanity must learn to manage its resources with unprecedented precision. Fusion reactors, if perfected, could provide endless energy and light, making underground cities almost self-sustaining. Closed-loop ecosystems would recycle waste, water, and nutrients. Technology would need to replace every function the sun once provided: light for crops, heat for climate regulation, and energy for civilization. Yet the harder challenge is psychological. Humans are creatures of light, shaped by circadian rhythms, open horizons, and the warmth of the sun. Adjusting to perpetual darkness requires a cultural transformation. New philosophies arise, new forms of art that embrace the aesthetics of shadow and glow, new social systems built around living in close, interdependent communities. Humanity survives not just by engineering the world, but by reimagining itself.